I'm at the NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet. So honored to be here because we get a chance to see what power feels like. Power is the ability to organize in ways in which we can make forceful change for the benefit of those that don't have power. The NAACP has been that such organization for over 100 plus years. The NAACP has been in the center of discussions and movement for African Americans throughout the nation.
Power is your ability to be your true self, to show your strength, to provide your opinion, to engage, and to change our community for the better. So I'm excited to be here. I'm very excited about the theme, and I'm looking forward to the future of our community that is, without a doubt, inclusive, diverse, embracing our diversity, and that is what makes Tampa the greatest city in the nation.
You know, one of the themes of tonight is power, and it's one of the things that the NAACP does so well. The NAACP, forever, since its existence, stands up for people that need to be stood up for. People that are historically marginalized, people that have historically been on the short side of history, and that is what the NAACP is about. That's why we're all here. That's why it's a sold-out event, because we still have the same marginalizations, the same problems here in 2022 that we did when the NAACP was founded. They're just a little different.
I mean, power means being able to bring people together and ensuring that we can move forward an agenda that gives everyone a wonderful quality of life and brings equality and justice into everyone's life. Everyone needs to be entitled to the right to have the best life possible in a community that cares about everyone.
I think it's very powerful to be fair. I think it's very powerful to speak up when you see injustice against anyone. I think that's powerful. I think a person becomes more powerful when they are helping others and making Tampa one of the best places in the world to live.
We are thrilled to be here tonight to celebrate the NAACP, the oldest and the baddest and the most important civil rights organization in the United States.
I personally believe that our democracy is at risk. And then one of the first stages, if you're going towards fascism, is to segregate people and to set up false narratives. I think tonight should be a reminder of where we do not want to go.
Power really comes from the people, but it's important for all of us to be involved and to encourage and support each other and support the diversity in our community.
I'm extremely proud and excited for our partnership with the NAACP because of the progress that we've made, our collaborative efforts to create a safer, stronger, and smarter community.
And it is about power, the power of people, the power of voting, and fighting for justice and everything that our communities need. So we know what our collective power is, we gotta use it, and we're counting on everybody in our community to make it happen. Let's go out and vote.
People of color are still discriminated against. I know because I have had some situations in the last year where I saw this take place right in front of me. So we need the NAACP to keep fighting for civil rights for people, all people, but people of color.
It's so important that the NAACP remain vigilant and in the forefront of the fight for equality. It is in this organization where people of all races, religions, and gender came together.
I think it means empathy and understanding among people, and that's why the NAACP of Hillsborough County is so important today. They bring people together, they stand up for the least among us, they stand up against discrimination and prejudice. You would think after all these years we would be marching forward together all the time, but sometimes it's necessary to use that power to call out prejudice and discrimination. I'm grateful for Yvette and everyone here at the NAACP Hillsborough.
And tonight is very important because, as you can see right now, I'm around a lot of good intellectuals and smart people who, you know, bring forth the community to stay strong together and work together. And in places and times like this, working together will always get us to dream big things. And I'm looking forward to have a big future by standing right here in the camera talking to you people. Thank you so much.
Please hold your applause until all dignitaries have been introduced. Miss Terry Daniel Assistant Vice President of Supply Diversity at the University of South Florida, and Honorary Chair of the Freedom Fund Dinner. Good to see you, Terry. God bless you. Rabbi Joel Simon of Congregation Sharei Zedek. Quiet, please. Our MCs for the evening, Miss Emerald Morrow, the Emmy Award-winning journalist for 10 Tampa Bay, and a proven freedom fighter for the people of Florida, Attorney Sean Shaw of Vanguard Attorneys. Next is our fearless leader, and I call her Madam President Yvette Lewis. She's president of the Hillsborough County branch of NAACP, Miss Yvette Lewis. Lastly but not least, an anointed man of God who was called within the last 6 months by Beulah Baptist Church. He is a servant leader, Pastor Alan Harris of Beulah Institutional Baptist Church. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage our MCs for the evening, Miss Emerald Morrow, she's a beautiful young woman, and Mr. Sean Shaw, who is a real advocate for civil rights. God bless you. And an Omega.
Good evening, everyone. Wait, I'm not hearing the energy from the crowd. Good evening, everyone. That's more like it. You guys look beautiful, you look handsome, and it is my honor to serve here tonight as MC alongside Sean Shaw. This is just a wonderful event that is put on every single year, and it is my honor to be here with you again for the second year in a row. We are just so excited, again, to be here, and it's always been the goal of this organization, the NAACP, to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of all citizens and to eliminate racial prejudice. So as we gather tonight, we hope that everybody will have open minds and open hearts and be reminded of how important it is for us to serve our communities. That is such a huge role that we all play. So in the words of the great W.E.B. Du Bois, one of the founders of this organization, now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done.
Good evening, everybody. You all can have a seat. I'm not a preacher, but you all can have a seat. I've always wanted to say that. Please be seated. I'm honored to be here this evening, and I'm honored to see all of you all here and how packed this room is and how everyone is here this evening to do what we always do and to keep up the fight, because the fight has to be kept up. So we're honored this evening to have Executive Committee Member at Large of the Hillsborough County branch of the NAACP, Ms. Isaline Boyd Boston, to bring greetings, and following her will be the dynamic Terry Daniel, our Honorary Chair, to provide the occasion.
Thank you all.
Good evening, family, friends, and associates, to the annual Hillsborough County National Association for the Advancement of Colored People Freedom Fund Dinner 2022. Our theme for today is "This is Power." And your being here represent power. We are stronger together. Now, I want to take this moment to let you all know this. You have the hottest ticket in town. I don't care what's going on out there today. You decided to come and spend this time with the biggest, baddest organization in Hillsborough County. So for that, give yourself a hand. Because you could have been any place else, you know. There's something going at the Strass. There's something going on in football, all of those things. But you had the hottest ticket. I'm proud of you. This is our opportunity to update you on our commitment to pursuing justice, changes, economic equality for all our communities, as we empower you to exercise your voice. Please vote. Your rights, because we fought for them, and your choice, because you have options. This is what we strive to do as we continue to walk in building a better today, tomorrow, and the future to serve the conscience of the community and America. Now listen, I looked across the room and I know this is a Friday night. I see glitter. I see heels. I'm in heels, but they hurt. I see handsome guys, men, debonair, if that's the right term. And I'm happy that you're here. And I know that you're happy. There are some of you had the opportunity to be here many times. But for the new ones, thank you so much. So, please allow us to lift your spirits tonight, feed your soul, and empower your mind. We won't be rapping in here tonight. I can rap. We might be singing, but you definitely will feel the power of our distinguished speaker and guests as they bring you this powerful message in today's time. This is what power looks like. Look around the room. This power joined together for a good cause. And you made it happen by being here because you matter. This is what power looks like. Greetings from the Hillsborough County NAACP. Power.
Thank you so much for those powerful words from our honorary chair. We're going to now receive Rabbi Joel Simon from the congregation of Shaarei Tzedek to deliver the invocation and grace.
I can't tell you all how much it means to me to be here this evening. I have looked at the invitation for this event for years, always wanting to be here. But as some of you may know, Friday evening is the beginning of Shabbat, the Jewish Sabbath, which begins Friday night and continues through Saturday evening. And while the Sabbath is supposed to be a day of rest, it also happens to be a time that I'm usually expected to be working. Our synagogue sanctuary is full this evening with families as our 6th grade class is leading our service tonight. So since they're doing all of the hard work, I took the opportunity for a Sabbath of my own to get to spend time at this extremely important gathering with all of you. I want to thank Yvette Lewis for inviting me to share a blessing with you all tonight. The connections that have been strengthening over the past several years between our communities has certainly been a blessing, but it's not anything new. The Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act were both drafted at the conference table of the Religious Action Center of the Reform Movement of Judaism in Washington, D.C. So many rabbis participated in and were often arrested during prominent protests. including the 17 rabbis who were arrested in St. Augustine, protesting segregation at the Monson Motor Lodge. And the great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel was right next to his good friend, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the March in Selma, sharing the words that have inspired so many after him to action. "I felt my legs were praying," he said. The Jewish Community Relations Council of the Tampa JCCs and Federation, in partnership with the leadership of the NAACP and the Urban League, along with our religious communities, created the Black and Jewish Community Cooperative to ensure that here in Tampa, we can write the next chapter of that long, beautiful history of working together in order to create the world in which we want to live. I think sharing the desire to create that world of justice and equality is what brings all of us here tonight. And the belief that we can do so is what gets us out of bed each morning. That concept of partnering in an ongoing creation is a theme that begins at the very beginning. In the Jewish community, we read our Torah, the 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, in totality each year. And we just celebrated the holiday of Simchat Torah, in which we finished the book of Deuteronomy, moving immediately from the death of Moses to the creation of the world as the cycle begins anew. I found myself this week thinking a lot about that story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know that one? Yes. In Eden, in paradise, humans had the option of living in a place in which everything was given to us. We just had to follow that one rule: don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But we've never liked following rules very much, and so we were banished from that paradise. And what was our punishment? We now had to work the earth in order to grow that food that would provide us with the nourishment that we needed. We read in Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, "By the sweat of your brow shall you get bread to eat." Now, the Garden of Eden, we know, was a fantastic place, but I'm fairly certain there was no bread tree there. Bread was something new. Bread requires humans to take that wheat which grows from the ground, using what at the time required great creativity, innovation, and yes, work, in order to turn a plant that is inedible in its raw form, learning how to reap, thresh, winnow, and grind that grain into flour, that combined with water and baked would become the bread that we all have on the tables in front of us this evening. What is presented as punishment in the book of Genesis, to me, seems like a gift. We as humanity now have the opportunity to take the gifts of the earth, combine them with the gifts of our wisdom, also given by God, so that we can create something truly wonderful. Now, in Judaism, more often than the spontaneous, improvised prayer that many of you are used to, we have set blessings and prayers for any given moment, including a prayer before eating different foods. So before eating bread, we offer these Hebrew words, which I believe honor this partnership between humanity and God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, God, sovereign of the universe, who brings up bread from the earth. I wish to add these words of prayer to our traditional Jewish prayer this evening. As we prepare to eat this bread and the meal before us, we thank you, God, for all of the gifts that we've been given. Those things that grow from the earth, and perhaps more importantly, our ability to turn those gifts into something new. And God, we pray that when we see wheat in our lives, when we see something that we know could be wonderful, but there are obstacles placed along the path to make it wonderful, may we find the strength to work with our neighbors, overcoming those obstacles so that we can not only make bread, but break bread together, having the difficult conversations, and joining in that difficult work to set the table and create the world in the way we know that you, God, want it to be. A world that is inspired by the dreams of the Garden of Eden. A world, we pray, that becomes full one day of justice, of equality, and of peace. May these be the blessings of this meal as we break our bread together, as we say, Amen.
So as you guys take a little bit of time to enjoy the bread and enjoy each other, we want to bring up our honorary chair to give a few words and talk about the occasion. This is such a big occasion and so important for all of us to be here tonight, so we want to make sure that we give her the opportunity to share her words. Good evening. As a woman of faith, I have always been taught to give honor where honor is due. So I would like to first thank my Heavenly Father for allowing me to be here this evening, and I will say, to God be the glory for the things He has done. I would like to honor the National Chair of the NAACP Board of Directors, Mr. Leon W. Russell, the National President and CEO of the NAACP, Mr. Derek Johnson, the President of the Hillsborough County NAACP, Miss Yvette Lewis, the NAACP members, officers, our elected and appointed officials, our sponsors and supporters, President Rhea Law of USF, and my University of South Florida colleagues. My name is Terry Daniel, and it is my great honor to serve as your honorary co-chair for the 2022 NAACP Freedom Fund celebration. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was established in 1909, and it's America's oldest and largest civil rights organization. It was formed in New York City by white and black activists, partially in response to the ongoing violence against African Americans around the country. The NAACP's founding members included white progressives Mary White Ovington, Henry Moskowitz, William English Walling, and Oswald Garrison Villard, along with such African Americans as W.E.B. Du Bois, Ida Wells Barnett, Archibald Grimke, and Mary Church Terrell. In the NAACP's early decades, its anti-lynching campaign was central to its agenda. And during the civil rights era in the 1950s and 1960s, the group won major legal victories, and today the NAACP has more than 2,200 chapters and branches, some 500,000 members worldwide, with the Hillsborough County branch being the largest in the state of Florida. Yes, that deserves some applause. The mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality and rights of all persons, and to eliminate race-based discrimination. I recently watched an interview with the producers of Sydney, a new documentary depicting the life of the great Sidney Poitier, who talked about the significant impact
the civil rights movement had on his life and his personal advocacy. The documentary of Mr. Portier's life was a beautiful depiction of what I refer to as allyship. My personal definition of allyship is using your power, your influence, and your ability to create opportunities for others. The producers of the documentary contrasted the impact of Mr. Portier's life's advocacy work, especially in the film and television industry, as being a meteor hitting the ocean and its massive ripple effect. This spoke volumes to me because even today, opportunities are still being created for Black and brown people because of his allyship. Think about the visualization of a meteor hitting the ocean. That metaphor caused me to ponder, and I challenge you to also think about, what is your ripple effect? I encourage you to see the film if you have not. And Sidney's ripple effect was incredibly significant, but it did not come without challenges. In the documentary, he talked about living to the values that drive you. Basically, why do you do the work that you do, and what drives you to do it? Because if you do not live to the values that drive you, you can very easily be distracted away from the very thing that you are called to do. Prior to the Civil Rights Act in 1964, Sidney Poitier was the first Black man to win an Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in Lilies of the Field. Yes. Oprah Winfrey referred to him as the great Black hope. For her and for many others, he carried the dreams of others on his shoulders, and according to him, it was a significant burden and a very lonely place to be. But he continued, he persevered, and I would offer, so it is for each of us in our advocacy for equity. Success and achievement don't happen overnight. They are the result of a lifetime of effort, hard work, persistence, and in most cases tenacity, because the work of creating equity is much bigger than any individual in this room. 400 years. 400 years of systematic racism is not reversed in just a few short years since all of the unrest we have watched in the media over the past few years, and that many of us in this room have personally experienced. No, we are all in this together. No matter what race or ethnicity you are, we all play a significant role in creating a society that embraces and celebrates diversity. This work is uncomfortable, it's challenging, and it can be quite disheartening at times. But when you know that your steps are ordered and the purpose that you are serving is much higher than yourself, you keep your head down and you continue to do the work, no matter how difficult the distractions that may come along. As I continue, I'm so sorry. As I continue to look at the examples of our great civil rights trailblazers, like the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Ruby Bridges, John Lewis, Baird Rustin, and those right here in Tampa Bay, Queen R. Miller, Matthew Gregory, Perry Harvey Sr., Delano Stewart, Warren Hope Dawson, Dr. Walter Smith, Mrs. Doris Ross Reddick, my beautiful sorors of the greatest sorority in the world, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Miss Chloe County, and our beloved 25th National President, Dr. Paulette Walker, and those in my own family who were born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, at the height of the civil rights movement. Listening to the stories my whole life of my mother, who would share how her friends would just disappear and no one would ever see them again. She told me of the times her grandmother and her grandfather who raised her and her brother would make them sleep underneath the bed because their grandfather was a minister and he was helping get black people registered to vote. At that time, many who were against that were terrorizing people of color and even resorted to throwing bombs into the homes of preachers because they didn't want them to mobilize groups from their churches to stand up for equal voting rights. My mother shared with me how she felt when a neighborhood friend was hung from a tree in her neighborhood's yard, in her neighbor's yard, not because he committed a crime, nor did something to warrant it, but because of the color of his skin. And even much more recently, as a young girl growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood and waking up one morning to our driveway being spray painted with N-word, "get out." And just a few evenings later, a cross being burned in my neighbor's yard. It was instilled in all of us as kids, the importance of voting, the importance of using our voice, our power, our influence, and our ability to create opportunities for others. So today, I say thank you to the NAACP and to each of the trailblazers who have passed on, to those trailblazers that are currently in this room, but most importantly, to our young people who are coming behind us. You have a beautiful opportunity to enhance our society by your allyship. You must continue this very important work to create equity for all people. I want to personally thank the NAACP, Ms. Yvette Lewis, and your team for all that you do for our community. I will leave you for your consideration a word from our beloved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Thank you so much, and may you be prosperous and fulfilled in all that you do.
felt those words, and I don't know what you all sat and talked about at the dinner table, but I had similar conversations at my dinner table. My father at one time served as the Chief Justice of this entire state, and I spent my dinners with him telling me about how sheriffs told him he had to get out of town while he was trying a case before it was dark. Because if he didn't, he'd have a problem. That's why we're here this evening. It ain't like that anymore, but it is still like something. And that is why we're here this evening. And Terry, we all felt that, and that was a hell of an occasion. I appreciate that. Rabbi Simon, thank you for being here. It means more than you know for you to be here with us this evening. Now, I'm going to introduce dignitaries later on this evening, and that's a whole other thing. But right now, I'm going to introduce the dignitary and the person who is the first lady of the chapter, the Hillsborough branch of the NAACP, and that's the hardest working woman of the NAACP, the hardest working fundraiser, the hardest working getting sponsors, the hardest working fighting for our people. That is the person I'm going to bring up here. Listen, it's the person that when she asks me to do something, I say yes. There's not too many people that do that, but it is Yvette Lewis, the president of the Hillsborough County branch of the NAACP.
Thank y'all. I just want to welcome y'all to this wonderful event tonight. We have some excellent speakers. Terry, I felt everything that you said, and I am so, so proud of you for all the hard work that you have done at USF. You were one good choice. I call that a good choice, yes. So, thank you, Jarvis. So I just want to welcome y'all, and those words said so much. This is not easy, and but y'all make me look good, and I welcome y'all to this occasion tonight. I will bring back some more remarks later on, but at this time, I just want you to know, look around this room, this is power working together. This is power. This is power.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis, for that. And Sean was just saying that that is one of the people that can call him and get him to act. So I'm a reporter, and I have to call her a lot. And a lot of times it's at the very last minute. Yvette, can you do an interview with me for the 5 o'clock news? And it's 2 o'clock. I got to get this on by 5 o'clock. But she always answers the call for many of the pressing issues that we have in our community. And Terry, you talked about doing the work, how important it is to do the work. It's not easy being a journalist at this time, at all. But I believe it is my calling to tell the story of our community, to tell the history so that it's preserved and protected for the future, to help us come together to understand each other. A lot of African American history has been suppressed, that's no secret, and there is a lot of wonderful history here in the state of Florida for African Americans and right here in the Tampa Bay area. You talked about Dr. King, and you did as well. We just did a big special earlier this year on Dr. King's influence right here in Florida. And you would be surprised how many people were unaware that Dr. King's efforts here in Florida helped pass the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. The work that he did in St. Augustine helped bring us here to where we are today. So it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we continue to learn the history, that we know about the things that have happened right here in the community, that we honor and recognize the trailblazers who have come before us. And it will always be my honor and my duty to make sure that I tell and share those stories with the community so that they are here for the future. So that being said, I would like to bring up to the stage Erica Reynolds Mrs. Tampa Bay's songstress for a rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now she's going to sing the first verse solo, but would like everybody else to join in thereafter. I hope everybody knows beyond the first verse. That's the verse that everybody knows.
I'm going to sing all 4 stanzas. So the parts you guys know, please join in. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chasing rod, felt in the days when hope unmourned had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever
love that song, and it gives me chills because it is a hopeful song. Lift Every Voice and Sing is a song that is about pain, but it is hopeful. And that is ultimately why that song gives me chills. Now, I've got a job now that lesser men than me have failed at and got in trouble. And I'm going to recognize or attempt to recognize the dignitaries in here. All of you all are important. Let me say that first. All right? Okay. So there are a lot of people in this room. There are a lot of elected officials. There are a lot of people that are going to deserve it of recognition. If I don't get to it, don't blame me, blame somebody else. But I'm going to do the best I can. There is no order here, but I'm going to do it as I can. So as I call your name, if you will just stand and wave and allow us to recognize you when we do this, because it's important to know who's here with us. So it's important to know who thought they ought to come and show up, and we think that you ought to be recognized for it. Mayor Jane Castor is in the house, I know. I can't see, but I know she's here. Senator Janet Cruz, I saw walking around. Hey, Senator. County Commissioner Harry Cohen. Congresswoman Kathy Castor. I want to recognize the president of the George Edgecombe Bar Association, too, and that's Cornelius Dims. Cornelius, stand up and wave. George Edgecombe Bar Association is a volunteer group of African-American lawyers here in Hillsborough County. We're honored to have the president of USF here, Rhea Laws, with us this evening. Thank you. State Attorney Susan Lopez. School Board Member Henry Shane Washington. County Commissioner Gwen Myers. City Councilman Orlando Goods. School Board Member Nadia Combs. Supervisor of Elections Craig Latimer. The head of Visit Tampa Bay that makes us look good and gets all these great conventions, including the Omega Psi Phi convention at one time. Santiago. Judge Jack Gutman. Judge Robert Husson, I'm sorry. I know, you told me to say it right and I messed it up. Be nice to me next time you see me. Judge Barbara Twine Thomas. Fire Chief Barbara Tripp. City Councilman Joe Citro. Our Public Defender Julianne Holt. My former State Senator Arthenia Joyner. You heard what I said. Sheriff Chad Cronister. And the Urban League President Stanley Gray. He is in the house. Now y'all, City Councilman Louis Vieira. Now I told you we were going to get to these Divine Nine shout-outs, and I know y'all have, County Commissioner Kim Overman, is that who I see down there? And Mary Ellen Smith. Yes, how are you doing? Thank you for getting my attention, because y'all would have got on me, I know, deservedly so. Now, I know we have recognized the AKAs at one point. State Representative Diane Hart in the house. School Board Member Jessica Bond, and Clerk of Court Cindy Stewart. Thank you. This person here is important because I pay a lot of taxes. Nancy Milan, Tax Collector, Hillsborough County. There she goes. Hillsborough County Administrator Bonnie Wise. Yes. All right. Now, the AKs got there. I know they're in the house. Delta Sigma Theta, you recognize. I know we have the men of Alpha Alpha in the house somewhere. Zeta Phi Beta in the house, I know somewhere. There you go. So you one of one to get recognized. There you go. I know we got the ST Rose in the house somewhere. But all that pales in comparison to who I'm about to recognize now. That's the Beta Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Where you at, bros? There you go. Y'all knew that was coming, didn't you? You can listen. I got the mic. So I can do it. Okay, I'm happy. That was a fun job. It was a hard job, but I want to make sure that we recognize who's here because we're in this together, and it means something that you all showed up here this evening. So I think dinner is about to be served right now. While dinner is being served, we are honored to have someone that's running for statewide office. You are welcome to come to the NAACP no matter what party and who you are. But all I can say is who is here this evening is the Democratic nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Carla Hernandez. She's going to come up and give a few words while they're passing out dinner, and we will get back to you. So, Carla, come on up and... We are happy to have you here.
Good evening, NAACP! My name is Carla Hernandez, and I am the nominee for Lieutenant Governor with Charlie Chris. And so I got some important announcements to tell you all. We are 18 days away. How many days? 18. That's right. So we got a lot of work we got to do. And I want to tell you what's at stake and why this is important. You see, I'm a 19-year teacher. I've been doing, this advocate. I see my educators over here. I know there's little pockets of educators. Yes. I have been advocating for children for public education for 19 years of my professional life. And during that time, I have not seen anything like what we're seeing now. It was mentioned earlier that we can't teach accurate history, and that's real. You see, we are in a state that doesn't let teachers teach with authenticity. We're teachers who are truth tellers and want to say the good, the bad, and the ugly so that we don't replicate mistakes that we've made in the past, are being denied and are being censored. We have a system in place right now that wants to tell teachers that we shouldn't use the word slavery, but that we should say involuntary relocation. Hello. We are the #2 state in banning books in this country. Banning books, #2 in the state. That's awful. Knowledge is power, and we know that our children and our communities should have access to knowledge so that they can continue to make communities great. And so we're here today at the Freedom Fund dinner, and we are talking about power. Our collective power, making sure that we go out, that we vote, that we support our community, and that we uplift all communities. Because we've come too far to go backwards, and this state is going backwards. So, if you care about women's rights, you need to vote. If you care about children, you need to vote. If you care about protecting your voting rights, you need to vote. If you want to make sure our communities are strong, you need to vote. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the NAACP. We organize, we mobilize, we fight for freedom, we fight for justice. And I will be your next Lieutenant Governor when we get out and vote. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Thank you very much. God bless. Have an awesome night.
Dinner served, we will be back.
That without spiritual guidance for many of us, that work might not be possible. I know many of us lean on a higher being for direction, for guidance, and we look to people in our community, our pastors, our rabbis, to guide us through our difficult times, tough decisions, and the like. So I want to take the time now to introduce Pastor Alan Harris. And he's a great man, not because he's just a man of God, but he's also from St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I'm from, and I love that. But in all seriousness, I know many of you in here know him, so let's just take a minute and just honor Pastor Alan Harris, because I know you guys were waiting to give him some round of applause, so go right ahead. Pastor Alan Harris is a native of St. Louis, Missouri, and he started preaching in the ministry at the age of 19 years old, when many of us were probably out in the world doing things that may or may not have been of the Lord. He served full-time in the ministry since he was 22 years old. So that is a very serious calling on his life. 22 years old, just about the age that I am. Not much older than that. Pastor Harris has the distinct and signal honor of serving as the lead servant of the historic Beulah Baptist Institutional Church in Tampa, Florida. He has a lot of accolades, graduated from John E. Lewis High School, formerly Robert E. Lee High School. In Springfield, Virginia, he went on to get his bachelor's degree. He was thirsty for even more. Started at Southern Seminary in Louisville, got his Master of Divinity degree and his Master of Theology degree. So he knows what he's talking about. Realizing that, of course, continuing to grow is so important, and learning God's Word and learning how to communicate with the people of God is important. He's currently working on also an Executive Master of Business Administration at Virginia Union University. He's very dedicated to spreading the good news with all the people that he encounters. And he's had a number of opportunities, including preaching in Austria, Toronto, Kenya, and Haiti. So he's been all over the world, seen many faces. He's also a very, very strong advocate for social justice and the NAACP, which is why he is here tonight. He likes to travel, he likes sports, he likes all of those things, but again, I'll venture to say above all else, he loves the Lord. And he loves spreading the good news. He's been married to the woman of his dreams and lifelong best friend, Joy Harris, for 16 years. They're the proud parents of their son, Isaiah, who is currently 11 years old. His favorite Bible verse can be found in 1 Corinthians 15 and 10. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. Please welcome Pastor Alan Harris.
Grace and peace be unto you through God our Father and Jesus Christ his Son. Let me hustle and hasten to thank my sister from another mister and to thank our Madam President, Sister Yvette Lewis. Let's give her a hand on tonight. Truly we thank God for your leadership. I do realize on tonight that many of us are meeting for the very first time. And so let me quickly share with you 4 of my favorite words in the entire world. And that is Beulah Baptist Institutional Church. Realize that we are still enjoying our great meal on tonight, but if all of my beautiful Beulahs would please stand on tonight. Amen. God bless you all. God bless you all. All of my beautiful Beulahs, thank you all so much for being here on tonight. To all of my Beulahs, I pray that you all know that it is not an exaggeration. A when I say unto you that I love you like a chubby kid loves chocolate cake. Amen. Thank you all so much for being here on tonight. Truly want to acknowledge all of our dignitaries, all of those who have served behind the scene to make tonight possible. And as we are giving out special acknowledgments on tonight, truly I want to thank God for my son and for my wife. I would ask if they would please stand. Amen. Thank you all for being here tonight. Beloved, as was mentioned in my bio, my wife and I have been married for 16 years. It'll be 17 years in March. And I am blessed to say that I said this some 16 years ago, but I still feel the same way on today. There are some men who are married to women who cause them to drink. But I am thankful that God has blessed me with a wife who has quenched my thirst. Amen. Let me again thank Madam Lewis, Madam President Lewis, for this opportunity. When she extended the invitation to me, I asked her, I said, are you sure that you want me to speak? And she said, yes, I'm sure. I said, you know, some people consider me a little radical. She said, that's all right. And so even on tonight, I asked her once again, I said, can I be myself? And she said, yes, absolutely, I want you to be yourself. And so I promise tonight, beloved, that I won't be before you too long. But give me a solid 50 minutes and I'll be out your way. Recently, in a small city located in the state of Oklahoma, a lady was arrested for child neglect of her 2 children who are of the ages of 2 and 3 years old. According to police reports, when the officers made their way to the trailer where the family lived, the officers quickly discovered that not only were the children covered in dirt, but they were also surrounded by dirty laundry and rotten food, which as a result caused the 2 and 3-year-old to be surrounded by flies and maggots. The initial investigation of this child neglect case initially started when a neighbor called 911 and said to the operator on the other end of the line, and I quote, "I've heard loud cries for at least 1 week." And it was this same neighbor who made the initial call to the 911 operator, when later interviewed by the local news station, said something that I've yet to be able to erase from my mind and shake from my spirit. For this same neighbor, when talking to the news reporter, said these exact words. She said, "What bothered me the most is that it was crystal clear that this mother ignored the cries of her children." And the reason tonight, beloved, that I haven't been able to shake those words from my spirit is because I guess the question that's on my mind tonight is, if a mother can be arrested for ignoring the cries of her children for a week, then what ought to happen to a nation that's ignored the cries of African Americans for hundreds and hundreds of years? If a mother can be detained and punished for mistreating and not taking good care of her own, then what does that say about America, who has mistreated African Americans for years and has made us feel as though we're not her own? And please understand tonight, I hope you understand what I'm trying to express tonight. Yes, I realize that by the grace of God, we have made some progress, but I surely pray that everyone under the sound of my voice, that you're not naive enough to think that just because we've made some progress, that the cries of our people have not been ignored for a long time. And perhaps maybe that is why James Weldon Johnson once said that we have gone through the path of the tears that have been watered. A few words later, he declared, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears. Maybe that is why Eric Michael Dyson, when he penned one of his latest books, These Tears We Cannot Stop, Eric Michael Dyson made it crystal clear that when black people say Black Lives Matters, it's not because we're trying to promote racial superiority, but rather we're just simply seeking the recognition that we long deserve. Our cries have been ignored for a long time. I realize that in this space and in this setting, not all of you are Bible readers. I realize in this space and in this setting, not all of you read the Bible on a consistent basis, including my beautiful Buelites. But just in case you don't understand why we as a people have been crying for years, there is a story tucked away in 1 Samuel chapter 11 that correlates and best explains the experience of African Americans in what Maya Angelou called these yet to be United States of America. For in 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 4, the Bible lets us know that the people of Jabesh Gilead wept loudly. And what I love about that story is that in verses 1 through 3, the text lets us know why the people of Jabesh Gilead are weeping loudly. Stick with me, beloved, as you continue to enjoy your meal. The text teaches us, shows us, number one, that the people of Jabesh Gilead are weeping loudly because they are under the rule of a plotting politician. When you read 1 Samuel chapter 11, verse 1, the Bible lets us know that the people of God are under a politician by the name of Nahash. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Feel free to fact check me on this, but the name Nahash literally means snake. In other words, what the author is trying to show us is that Nahash is devious and deceitful. That Nahash is not one who is honest and upright. And once again, please understand, beloved, I'm not here painting all politicians with a broad brush tonight. But we ought to just admit to the fact that one of the reasons that the cries of African Americans have been ignored for hundreds and hundreds of years is because we've been subject to plotting politicians. Politicians who show up in our neighborhoods when they want our votes, but they don't show up in our neighborhoods until the next election season. Politicians who ask to come and speak at our church, and then they don't even have the decency to stay at church until the service is over. Politicians who are bold-faced liars because even before they open their mouths, they know that they're about to make promises that they don't intend on keeping. Politicians who proclaim that they're pro-life, but if truth be told through their actions, they don't give a darn about your life or my life. Politicians who, as I told my beautiful lift a finger to help parents who live in the hood. We've been dealing with plotting politicians for a long time. I asked President Lewis, was it all right to be myself tonight? The people of Jabesh Gilead, they're weeping because they're dealing with a plotting politician. But not only are they dealing with a plotting politician, but their present reminds them of their painful past. Long story short, the people of Jabesh Gilead come to discover that even though they have experienced progress that their ancestors never experienced, they come to the realization that they are still oppressed. They come to the realization that even though there's been some advancement in the land, there's still some situations that cause them agony at night. My brothers and my sisters, when we look at our plight and our path as African Americans, how many of us can testify that our present sometimes remind us of our painful past? That we come to the conclusion in 2022 that even though we've made progress, we're still being oppressed. And the question becomes tonight, how can a race feel when we come to the reality that we're no longer dealing with the brutality of slavery in 2022, yet we're still dealing with the brutality of some police officers? The question becomes tonight, how else can we respond when we realize that in 2022, no, there are no longer water fountains that are separated for white individuals and black individuals, but yet we have to deal with the reality that in 2022, there are still some black individuals who don't have access to clean water? Well, what do you do when your present reminds you of your painful past? But what do you do when you realize that we're no longer dealing with the original Jim Crow laws, but to put it in Michelle Alexander's words, we now have the new Jim Crow where we have to deal with mass incarceration of black people and brown people? What do you do when our present reminds us of our painful past? Well, what do you do when you realize that we no longer have dogs sicked on us and hoses turned on us as we fight for our voting rights? But at the same time, we realize in 2022 that people are still trying to suppress and oppress our vote. So much so that even here in Florida, we had to deal with the Florida SB 90 bill. That if you take time to read it, you ought to go ahead and switch the letters. You ought to switch the letters SB 90 to BS 90. Black suppression, black suppression. I just had to make sure y'all were still with me tonight. Black suppression, BS, black suppression. I don't know about you tonight. When we realize that we have to deal with plotting politicians, when we face the reality that our present reminds us of our painful past, sometimes we can't help but cry. We think of all that we have to go through even in 2022. Maybe you don't find yourself wanting to cry, but if you're honest, sometimes you find yourself wanting to cuss. Maybe sometimes when you see all that we're going through and dealing with in 2022, maybe it makes you want to take a page from Marvin Gaye when he said, "It makes me want to holler, throw up both my hands." But beloved, as you continue to eat on that well-marinated chicken, please understand that there is some good news in the house tonight. Because in spite of the fact of all that we have to go through, in spite of all that we have to deal with, we have gathered in this place tonight because we are declaring beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is power. It is my prayer and my desire that all of us have come here tonight to declare without hesitation or reservation that this is power. It is my prayer that we have not gathered in this place to show that our weaves have been tightened and our goatees have been trimmed, but we come here tonight to declare that this is power. It is my hope that each of you have come here tonight not to show off your new dress and not to show off your new suit, but to declare that this is power. And since I gave you 2 pieces of bad news, can I give you 2 pieces of good news real quick? The good news tonight, number 1, is that God has placed power within us. Did you hear what I said? I said the good news tonight is that God has placed power within us. What I'm trying to say tonight is that God wants to remind each and every one of us that we have the power to make a difference. That we ought not underestimate the things we do in our community. That we ought not underestimate the power that we're having when we mentor a young boy or a young girl. Because though it might sound cliche on tonight, the message for all of us tonight is that there is the power of one. It is my prayer and my hope that none of us misuse or waste the power that is within us. Because if truth be told, the power that has been placed within us is not even about us, but it's about other people who are depending on us. I realize that my time is running out, but there's an interesting story in the book of Joshua, chapter 7. Here it is from chapters 1 to chapter 6. The children of Israel had experienced victory after victory. But then in Joshua chapter 7, they experienced defeat at the hand of a small and weak nation by the name of Ai. Let me give you the Reader's Digest version of that story. The reason that the nation of Israel experiences a defeat at the hands of Ai is because there was a weak link on the team. That there was an individual by the name of Achan who put his needs and his desires before the nation of Israel's desire. So much so that the Bible says that Achan took for himself a Michael Kors jacket, 100 shekels of silver, and 50-pound shekels of gold. Stick with me here. In today's equivalency, Achan took to himself materials that were worth $71. Achan, being selfish and self-centered. Achan, thinking about the materials of Israel instead of the mission of Israel, took for himself $71 to please himself as opposed to donating it or giving it to the community. Let me make that plain for you tonight. You do know, beloved, there are some individuals who are not here tonight because when they saw that the tickets were $100, they said to themselves, that's too much. Never mind the fact that tonight's event is a fundraiser, that the NAACP might continue to transform and change lives. There are some individuals who, because they are so self-centered and self-consumed and materialistic. They said to themselves, $100 is too much. But not only is that mentality tragic, but it's also trifling. Because some of the same people who said that $100 is too much for a ticket are some of the same people who will then go spend that $100 to buy some shoes or to get their nails done. And that's what God is asking us tonight. God is asking, how important is it to you that communities are transformed? That's what God is asking us tonight. God is asking us, what sacrifice are we willing to make that we might continue to minister to those who have been looked over and passed over and skipped over by society? I promise you, I'm almost done. See, number one, the first piece of good news is that there is a power within us. But the second piece of good news is that there is a power above us. That is the good news for all of us who find ourselves sometimes discouraged when we see all that we go through. The good news tonight is that not only is there a power within us, but there's also a power above us. Let me give it to you this way. The good news tonight is that the same God that delivered the children of Israel from the hands of Pharaoh is the same God that will continue to deliver us from our oppressors. The good news tonight is that the same God who walked with Harriet Tubman and Fannie Lou Hamer is the same God who's walking with us. The same God who walked with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X is the same God who's walking with us. The same God that saw our forefathers and our ancestors through the brutal times of slavery is the same God who's walking with us. The same God who saw our people and made sure that in spite of our ancestors being lynched is the same God that will make sure that we get to our destination. That is why, beloved, our ancestors were able to declare in the midst of all they went through, they were able to declare, up above my head I hear joy, bells ringing. Up above my head I hear angels singing. There must be a God somewhere. Brothers and my sisters, when we're reminded that there is a power above us, no matter how many tears we cry, no matter how many sleepless nights we endure, when we know that there is a power above us, we're able to say, as the songwriter said, I've seen the lightning flash and I've heard the thunder roll. I felt sin dash breakers trying to conquer my soul, but I heard the voice of Jesus saying, still fight on, for he's promised never to leave us alone.
He was speaking to somebody. And there's a lot of politicians in this room, a lot of candidates in this room, and I bet it won't be there. That was a mighty word. Pastor, if I ever come to your church, I'm staying the whole time. I heard it.
Well, I'm just going to say, as a journalist, I can't really comment on the political side of anything, but what I did pull from his speech is that we all have a purpose. You have to use what you have to start where you are. Whether you work in law enforcement, whether you are in politics, whether you're a teacher, whatever you do, a journalist, you use what you have, you do what you can, and you start where you are. And collectively, we can all make a difference, and I think that's so important for us to all realize and be disciplined about that. Motivation only gets you so far, but continue to be disciplined in your walk, your journey, your career, whatever it is that your mission is, and whatever it is you want to accomplish for our community.
I want to, if I can, this booklet here is not just a pretty booklet. It's filled with people who donated to make sure this was a successful event, who donated, as Pastor said, to a good cause, who donated to a fundraiser for this tonight. I want to especially recognize our sponsors this evening. They, in fact, are the dignitaries. They're the ones that made this happen. So at the Rosa Parks $10,000 level, I want to recognize Premier I, 1-800-ASK-GARY, and the Hillsborough County Teachers Association. There we go. At the James Weldon Johnson $5,000 level, the Tampa Bay Rays, Hillsborough County Administrators, Rooms to Go at Tampa General Hospital in USA. Thank you.
And at the Fannie Lou Hamer level, we would like to recognize HARP, the Florida Aquarium, guys here, Tucker Hall, Tampa International Airport, Fried Egg, Humana, AAA Restoration and Builders, LLC, Diaco Law.
Thank you all for that. You make this event happen, and you do it for a good cause. Now, we are now going to give out some awards and give some recognition to individuals in the community who are deserving of recognition by this wonderful organization. The first honoree being the winner of the Dr. Dorothy Height Award, that's Dr. Tracy Thompson. Dr. Thompson is a board-certified internist with an 18-plus year experience as a healthcare executive. Dr. Thompson joined Humana Healthy's Horizons in 2021 as its chief medical officer for its Florida Medicaid plan. She is also founder of Dr. Tracy's House, a nonprofit organization that aims to improve health equity by empowering the community within the various zip codes that currently correlate with worse health outcomes. Through its comprehensive and high-quality programming of holistic wellness services, including behavioral, physical, pharmaceutical, nutritional, and social services, Dr. Tracy's House will bring health, wellness, and sustainability to local communities. Congratulations.
Let's give another hand to Dr. Tracy Thompson. This next award is the Elijah Cummings Award, and it is going to Lanita Lucas. This is a special award because there's nothing more important than investing in the lives of our youth. And Lanita Lucas, she's a Tampa, Florida native. She has more than 23 years of experience working in public education as a teacher, a success coach, and the current supervisor of family and community engagement of Transformation Network schools in Hillsborough County. That's a huge job. Let me tell you, I do so many stories in our communities with our children, the disparity that we see in education, the outcomes that come as a result, the disparate outcomes that come as a result of unequal education. It's so important to invest in our children. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have somebody invested in me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Thank you, and it's because of that. It's because somebody cared. And we all need somebody that cares. All right, back to Lanita. She's coordinated outreach initiatives for students and families in our district's most vulnerable and chronically challenged schools. I'm sorry. It's hard. I see what these kids go through. I see the challenges that they deal with. I see the things that they're up against at home. So she works with these children in some of these challenge schools located in some of the most economically segregated neighborhoods of Hillsborough County. Segregation still exists in many forms. She's a creative, caring, and resourceful educator with a proven ability to enhance and strengthen families, communities, and partnerships through active engagement aligned to student achievement with the willingness to work beyond the call of duty. Let's give her another hand.
The next award is the A. Philip Randolph Award. And the winner of that award is Jeanette Keeley. Let's give it up. Having worked for the City of Tampa as a customer service representative, Ms. Keeley joined the local union in response to a co-worker's challenge who said you were outspoken and you need to join the union. You got good friends. Since that time, she's been an active participant in the labor movement, serving in the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 1464 in various positions, including the Women's Caucus and a delegate for the West Central Florida Labor Council, AFL-CIO. She's a 1978 graduate of Lido High School. Okay, just checking. She's also a member of the Hillsborough County Democratic Party and a member of my church, St. John's Progressive Missionary Baptist Church. She's also a member of Project Image Feeding Tampa and the NAACP. She's the mother of 5 children and many godchildren. She lives by the mantra, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And she got a cheerleading thing.
All right, this next award, the Thurgood Marshall Award, goes to James Michael Shaw, Jr. Currently a partner at Butler Law, with litigation practice focusing on insurer extra-contractual liability, formerly with another law firm, and from 2003 to 2007, worked in Miami, Florida as an associate with litigation practice focusing on aviation and insurance litigation. Now, among the countless initiatives among his name, he worked with the local and national groups, and this is something really huge, to expose and then end the crime-free multi-housing program. I'm sure many of you guys have read about that in the paper, the impact that had on the community. And this program, according to reports, led to the evictions of individuals arrested in Tampa, their families, their roommates, with a very distinct racially disparate impact. So he also recruited, coordinated with, and assisted pro bono defense attorneys to defend protesters affiliated with the Black Lives Matter movement who were arrested, falsely charged with crimes in Tampa.
James Shaw is not related to me, but he makes the Shaw name very proud of you, brother. Congratulations, brother. I appreciate all you do. Now, this next award, it's always fun to be able to recognize those people that you know personally. And the winner of the Barbara Jordan Award is Ernest Woods III. E. Woods, my fraternity brother, my friend. E. Woods is an astute, equity-minded school administrator with over 20 years of educational experiences, which include instruction, classroom management, school systems of support, as well as school and district administration. Wood graduated from the Florida A&M University with a Bachelor of Arts and Sciences majoring in criminal justice and minoring in social work. He also earned a Master's of Education from National Louis University in Educational Leadership/Administration. Mr. Wood is currently the Executive Director of Non-Traditional Programs, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Hillsborough County School District. Congratulations.
common objectives. She says that she's a very strong, forward-thinking leader who listens, has experience not only with collaborating and advocating, but also uses her God-given abilities strategically to get results. She does the hard work. She does the work of justice ministry, thinking globally and acting locally to bring great ideas to Hillsborough County. She is an entrepreneur and a homemaker, a retired homeschool educator, and the director of justice ministry at Bible-based Fellowship College in Carrollwood. There's a little bit more. She participates with the state attorney's racial justice working group. She's a member of the Department of Health Equity Task Force and is the lead organizer for the Racism as a Public Health Crisis working group. She owns or co-owns Envision Resolution LLC and leads efforts that resulted in the Board of County Commissioners passing a resolution that declared racism as a public health crisis. She's a champion of grassroots organizing, and it's all a true testament to how hard she works.
All right, the next award is the Madam C.J. Walker Award. And this award is going to go to Young Queens Baking. I need to see them later, because if the food is as good as I'm reading here, I need to see them. Certainly not least, the Madam C.J. Walker Award. We all know the success story of Madam C.J. Walker, who many call the first black millionaire. These two honorees are definitely following in her footsteps. Young Queens Baking is the youthful expression of siblings Alicia and Ania Jackson. As small children, they spent time in the kitchen baking for special occasions and holidays with their parents. And in 2019, the girls began to perfect their craft by selling cookies to family, friends, and local supporters. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic shifted their lives, causing them to do homeschooling for an entire year. Using this adversity to their advantage, the girls decided to let the extended quarantine not to let the quarantine keep them from achieving their dreams. And amid uncertainty, they launched their first baking company during this pandemic in hopes of adding a little something sweet to the world. And they do just that. It is nice. Like I said, I need to follow up with them. Now, our Living Bridge Award honoree. It is my honor to let you all know that the winner of that is Dr. Jewel Shannon Smith. Yes, Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith's professional career spans over 30 years at USF, where she served in several positions: University Counseling Psychologist in the Counseling Center, founding executive director of the Institute on Black Life and Center for Africa, adjunct faculty in African American Studies and Women's Studies, director of institutional development and founding executive director of the USF Women in Leadership and Philanthropy Program. And as a servant in the Tampa Bay community, Dr. Smith has served on the board of trustees for the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay Incorporated, where the Honorable Betty Castro was the chair. She provides professional assistance to businesses and nonprofit organizations. She's currently president of JUE-L Consulting Group. She's a member of the Athena Society, the Links, a life member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the NAACP, life member of the University of South Florida Alumni Association, the American Association of University of Women, Urban League of Hillsborough County, TOBA, United Negro College Fund, and a member of Beulah Baptist Institute Church. There you go. I got through all of that. And there was a lot to get through. That's impressive.
Next up, we're going to bring up Ms. Selena Ward. Mrs. Selena Ward, who's going to recognize lifetime.
I have to put on my glasses, of course. Good evening. I have the distinct honor of recognizing our lifetime members, our newest lifetime members. Would you please stand when your name is called and proceed to the awards table to receive your certificate? Mr. Willie Parker. Just one moment, please. One moment, please.
Okay, we're gonna do it right. This young lady has paved the way for me to stand up here, and I have to give her her moment.
Wow, that's all I can say. It's wow. I'm glad I'm having a few words to say here. Well, good evening, everyone. What a beautiful introduction. To the president, the board, staff, distinguished members of the NAACP, ladies and gentlemen, when I was told by Madam President that I would be the recipient of one of the unsung heroes, really sheroes, specifically the Living Bridge Award. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I could not believe, I just could not believe that I had been selected by a committee who felt that my community service had made a difference in the lives of people within our community. So I'm deeply, deeply honored and humbled to accept the 2022 Living Bridge Award. I accept this powerful award not just for myself, but for all of those devoted, very devoted bridge builders who have moved so boldly and courageously against racial, economic, and social injustice. But first, let me congratulate the other recipients for the outstanding work that they've done and they continue to do. The difference that they are making, as we've just heard, in the lives of children and families throughout Hillsborough County and above. My special appreciation to them. And there's so many people throughout my life, so many, that I would love to recognize, and of course one would be my 50-year marriage to Dr. John L. Smith. Why don't you stand, John? Why don't you stand? Well, I knew I would embarrass him, but it's been 50 years. He's a former president of Fisk University. He's the first African-American to serve as Dean of the University of South Florida. And we can go on and on and on. I'm also very appreciative, and I wish my immediate family could be here, my extended family members, who many of you are extended families, and also I'd like to recognize for sure my special friend Lorna Taylor. Lorna's president and CEO of Premier. And Lorna, thank you for being here. The social and professional organizations, I'm told to rush. Social and professional organizations such as the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Athena Society, the Links Incorporated, and I just want to give a special shout out to the Links. They really, really put together a magnificent and our group of ladies and to show their support tonight. So thank you so very, very much, sisters. My spiritual families all over the world, but my spiritual foundation is the Beulah Baptist Institutional Church. We are blessed to have, as you can see, over 100 or more members here tonight representing Beulah. We live here and build here, as well as with our pastor. We are so thankful. Then I thought about the title of the award, this powerful and beautiful award, and what it symbolizes, the Living Bridge Award. And when sharing it with my children, they stated, "Mom, for us, we only have 5, 7, Mom, for us, you were our bridge over trouble.
Okay, we're gonna do it right. This young lady has paved the way for me to stand up here, and I have to give her her moment.
Wow, that's all I can say. It's wow. I'm glad I'm having a few words to say here. Well, good evening, everyone. What a beautiful introduction. To the president, the board, staff, distinguished members of the NAACP, ladies and gentlemen, when I was told by Madam President that I would be the recipient of one of the unsung heroes, really sheroes, specifically the Living Bridge Award. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I could not believe, I just could not believe that I had been selected by a committee who felt that my community service had made a difference in the lives of people within our community. So I'm deeply, deeply honored and humbled to accept the 2022 Living Bridge Award. I accept this powerful award not just for myself, but for all of those devoted, very devoted bridge builders who have moved so boldly and courageously against racial, economic, and social injustice. But first, let me congratulate the other recipients for the outstanding work that they've done and they continue to do. The difference that they are making, as we've just heard, in the lives of children and families throughout Hillsborough County and above. My special appreciation to them. And there's so many people throughout my life, so many, that I would love to recognize, and of course one would be my 50-year marriage to Dr. John L. Smith. Why don't you stand, John? Why don't you stand? Well, I knew I would embarrass him, but it's been 50 years. He's a former president of Fisk University. He's the first African American to serve as the dean of the University of South Florida, and we could go on and on and on. I'm also very appreciative, and I wish my immediate family could be here, my extended family members, who many of you are extended families, and also I'd like to recognize for sure my special friend Lorna Taylor. Lorna's president and CEO of Premier. And Lorna, thank you for being here. The social and professional organizations, I told to rush. Social and professional organizations such as the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Athena Society, the Links Incorporated, and I just want to give a special shout out to the Links. They really, really put together a magnificent group of ladies and to show their support tonight. So thank you so very, very much, sisters. My spiritual families all over the world, but my spiritual foundation is the Beulah Baptist Institutional Church with the Reverend Leon. We are blessed to have, as you can see, over 100 or more members here tonight representing Beulah. We live here and build here, as well as with our pastor. We are so thankful. Then I thought about the title of the award, this powerful and beautiful award, and what it symbolizes, the Living Bridge Award. And when sharing it with my children, they stated, Mom, for us, we only have 5, 7. Mom, for us, you were our bridge over troubled water. For me, the key word is bridge. I grew up in a loving, caring, and spiritual family in Oklahoma with a strong work ethic and a commitment to the community. You see, we help each other. We live in the country while helping others at all levels, and all stages of life. This inner passion for helping others was a central part of practically every career path that I've taken. The University of South Florida's Women in Leadership and Philanthropy program was established almost 18 years ago. And it was established to educate and inform women in the skills and the opportunities of effective community leadership. My early career, the passion for building bridges, of course, focused upon helping Tampa and the African American community. We included and pulled together faculty, staff, and Tampa business and community leaders to establish the USF Institute on Black Life and a mission to bridge a stronger relationship with the University of South Florida and the African American community. And we are proud of that. We also established a Center for Africa. The Center for Africa, of course, helped us to take students and faculty to Africa, North Africa, South Africa, and the other parts of the mother country. We continued our work throughout the university as I fumbled through trying to find these right pages. The Institute partnered with different agencies, local and nonprofit, and some of those were like NCCJ. During that time, it had a different name than the National Conference for Community and Justice. But we partnered with them, Boys and Girls Club, TOBA, Urban League, our own NAACP with community leaders and past presidents, including Mother Ann Porter, who happens to be here tonight. Let's give her a round of applause. And today, let me say we have another very powerful bridge builder, our current leader for NAACP. You see, she stands tall, proud, and courageous on the broad shoulders of the past presidents and others. Madam President, I'd like for you to stand, and I'd like for the group to give her another hand of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted that to happen because when I went by to pick up my tickets, there she was, just working, hold all of these tickets. You know, and it put me in the mind of USF when we started the Institute on Black Life. I'd answer myself and I'd turn around and type and do back and forth, and students would come in, but it was building. And look where we are today. And that's the beauty of it all. So in reference to the Living Bridge, one of my favorite poems, right quick, a classic by Will Adam Dulver. I'm sure you're familiar with him, entitled The Bridge Builder. And as I paraphrase, the poem depicts an old man, or it could be an old woman, going down a long highway. You see, the weather was cold and gloomy, and the clouds were very dark. And he came up on a very wide and deep and treacherous river in which there was a swollen tide. The old man crossed the river in the twilight dim. The sudden bridge, you know, it had no fears for him. So he moved on across the river as one usually would do. He turned when safe on the other side, and he started building a bridge to span the tide. Oh man, oh man, oh man, and it could be old woman. What are you doing? Just what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy in building here. The journey will end in the ending day. Your day's about over. You'll never pass this way again. Why don't you go on home? Go home. Go home and get a little rest. What are you doing building this bridge? The builder lifted his old gray head, and he said, "Dear friend, in the path that I've come, there falleth after me a youth whose feet must pass this way. So to that fair-haired youth, or nappy-haired youth, that new generation, there may be a pitfall. So, my friend, I am building this bridge for him. So I'm saying that let us all continue to be bridge builders and living bridge builders and continue the work, of course, of our leader. Thank you very much.
I want to take a second to let you know, if you have your ticket, as we talk about membership, make sure you fill out your ticket and turn it in, because that ticket is good for a year membership.
Now, I would like to take this honor and privilege to honor our new lifetime members. When I call your name, please go to the awards table and receive your certificate.
Mr. Willie Parker. Mrs. Robin Parker. Commissioner Gwen Myers. Congratulations and thank you for being a lifetime member, and you too can become a lifetime member of the NAACP Hillsborough County branch. Thank you.
All right. Well, this brings us to the end of our ceremony. I can't believe it. It went by pretty quickly. And I don't know about you all, but I certainly feel refreshed, renewed, and inspired and ready to continue to make a difference in my community through what I do, and I hope you all feel the same.
This was some pouring into us happening tonight, and that's why we're here. And I was happy to be a part of it. I was happy to be a small part of it, but I want to bring up our fearless leader and bring up our president, Miss Yvette Lewis, for her to give the President's Award and closing remarks. She stay working, come on.
Wow, this has been a beautiful night, but it's not over with quite yet. So there is a video I would like for them to show at this present time.
Hey, I'm Joshua Bias, a student attending Hillsborough High School and a member of the NAACP. The NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, designed to fight for the rights of every individual regardless of race. The organization started in 1909 and still fights for the same cause, to ensure political, social, and economic justice. And you can be part of this organization as a high school student by doing community service, or you can become a member. I reached out to my math teacher and talked about doing community service. She mentioned the NAACP and said they were involved with politics. I also told her my career goals about being a politician one day. I had a good conversation with President Yvette Lewis of the NAACP Hillsborough County branch. And in 2 months, my whole world changed. She has given me opportunities to go to the National NAACP Convention in New Jersey to meet with community leaders such as Eric Gill, and I was introduced to TBAE Network, who gave me an opportunity to intern over the summer. Since joining, I have gained respect for organizations like Omega and Kappa and received mentorship from community leaders such as Mr. Ernest Wood III, and experienced insights into the political world by speaking to Senator Darrell Roussan and House Representative Susan Valdez. Not to mention, members of the NAACP like Miss Yvette Lewis and Robert Irvin have given me tools to strive for greatness. I have grown so much, and I encourage you to join the NAACP Hillsborough branch. As a member, you get to become part of a vibrant community dedicated to equality and justice. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we are the voice for the voiceless and hope for the hopeless.
Thank you, Josh. But the most important thing, when Josh walked into the branch and he said, I'm a member and I just want to work and I want to help, I want to do something. And I'm saying, where did this child come from? And who are you, baby? Who your mama is and everything. And, you know, and Josh was like, I'm a member. And he had done really joined on his own. But we got him, and he was ready, and he jumped in with 2 hands and 2 feet, and he's been with us ever since. And I just really want to say this here. There are 2 gentlemen that comes to our branch and do a lot of work in our branch and volunteer, and they have wrapped their arms around this young man. And that is Ernest Wood and Robert Irvin. But the most important, and there's another young man, and that is Robert Collins, and the gentlemen from the Kappas and the Omegas that have wrapped their arms around this young man and gave him guidance, gave him the strength, gave him the love, and just showed that he is somebody. So I just want to say thank you for that. And thank you, Josh, for just showing up. And then this next presentation is very dear to me, and I just really had to do something. I'm going to ask the County Administrator, Bonnie Wise, to just make her way up here and assist me with this here.
There are very few people in county government who work for county in excess of 30 years. But there is a very special person who has done that, and his name is Albert Coleman. And yes. And Albert has worked in the budget office. He's been our equal opportunity administrator. He's been a liaison, and he has been a community builder. And most recently, he was involved with our equity profile. And the impact that Albert has made on Hillsborough County will be felt for generations. And for Albert and for all of us who have had the opportunity to work with Albert, we have a deep sense of gratitude. And we thank you and we appreciate you and we wish you the best in your retirement. We will miss you immensely, but we know your legacy will continue.
And as that role that Albert has, he is our liaison for the county. So when we have fires that come into the branch, I pick up the phone, he answers, and he puts those fires out. So I have to say thank you, thank you, thank you, because that helps us continue to service the community and service them, the needs, when they come through our door. Thank you for all that you do. So we got a little presentation, a little award for you over there. Okay, okay, Bonnie. Yeah, go take pictures with Bonnie. But I'm not gonna say. Okay, we go. We're gonna run through this here. Okay. I'm Nate, shall I write? Okay. All right. It has been an amazing evening, and Pastor, you did this. You gave a message that was very much needed, and all I ask of you is to be yourself and do it, and let God deliver you, and I truly believe that He guided your voice. And I know you stepped on some toes out here, because Sean said to me, I ain't gonna never leave his church early. I'm gonna stay there. It ain't no telling us. Baby. But with that being said, I'm gonna say this because I don't want to belabor this thing any longer. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to share this annual Freedom Fund dinner with you tonight. As the president of the NAACP Hillsborough County branch, the last 5 years have been rewarding and gratifying. When I accepted the call from the community in 2017, after having served in various capacities of the branch, I wanted to ensure everyone that the required compliance with the bylaws of the state and the national organization is our governance. I am also laser focused on adhering to the vision and the mission of this organization. I want to remind many of you and enlighten the rest of you of what our vision is. We envision an inclusive community rooted in liberation where all persons can exercise their civil and human rights without discrimination. And mission is just a goal-oriented, as it was when the organization was founded in 1909 by an interracial body of men and women. The mission is this: to achieve equality, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that explain human and civil rights, eliminating discrimination, and accelerating with the well-being of education and economic security of Black people and people of color. So there's many more pages here that I rehearsed this morning, but you know what? I don't have time for this. So if y'all know me very well, I just speak. So, and y'all know, and I have to say this, y'all know I'm a blessed child. And I'm LMA's baby. Don't ever forget that. Yes. So let me explain some of the things here. This is very dear to me, and I have to say this, and I know Sean said something earlier. I want to recognize the partnership that this branch has built over the years with the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine represents a collective of 9 sororities and fraternities that were established in the early years of 1900s. I want to recognize Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, Zeta Phi Beta sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, Iota Phi Phi fraternity. If you are a member of one of these organizations, I would love for you to stand at this time. Hold on. Don't sit down. Wait. Because I still would love to recognize the beautiful Links Incorporated. Please stand. Coalition of 100 Black Women. Without all of y'all, I couldn't do what I do. Y'all always say when I call, you'll answer, and you do, and I want to say thank you. Because of you, you make this world a better place. You make living in Tampa a decent place. You make me the person who I am. So I just really wanted to say thank you to all of y'all for this beautiful partnership. Thank you so much. See, in the words of Dr. King, it really boils down to this. Interrelated. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied into a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And in the words of the great Fannie Lou Hamer, we didn't come this far for no 3 seats, Pastor. See, my people been beaten, lives threatened, just to have the right to vote. She say nobody is free until everybody is free. Rabbi Simon, the NAACP Hillsborough County branch stands with you. Thank you. I want to thank the executive committee for the NAACP Hillsborough County branch. I will also want to thank the Freedom Fund Dinner Committee. But there are some people here that are very dear to me. And this gentleman drove pretty far, and he's a good friend of mine. And he represents the Florida State Conference. He's the Florida State Conference Secretary, and that's Mr. Sean Kinsey. Thank you. And this lady here, she always brings the best out of me. Past president of the NAACP, mentor, guide, loving person, beautiful mother, guided spirit, counselor, a way maker, just all of that, and then some, and that's Mother Ann Porter. Thank you. Say my ancestors and people have paved the way for me to stand here and speak before people who don't even usually look like me. There are 2 sisters here that I met a couple of weeks ago, and they were the Freedom Riders. And when I met them, they said they wanted to come. I offered them an invitation to come. They're here, and I just want to say thank you to the Petaway sisters, Freedom Riders from back in the day. Thank you so much for all that you have done. Thank you, Pastor Harris. There's a lovely gift there for you, and I think we got a box of cookies from my beautiful babies over there too as well, too. Okay, so yes. And if y'all have an event, please call my babies and have them bake some cookies for you. They're good cookies. Okay. And then also too, I really would love for y'all to fill out the back of your tickets for your membership. And so you can be a part of this branch. Because being a part of this branch asserts so much, and it lets people know that this is power. In this room, this is power. Wherever I go, wherever I see, I realize now, and I didn't realize it then, they said I'm a leader. I want y'all to know, we had a meeting at our branch yesterday. I know what Dr. King felt when they were banging on the doors and when they were banging on the windows trying to get at him. I know what it felt when they was trying to set that bus on fire, trying to stop y'all from voting. I never thought I would feel that way. But I sat there patiently and continued the meeting. People say, Yvette, how did you do it? I'm gonna tell you this here. Yvette didn't do what LMA did because I had the spirit of my mother inside of me. This ain't easy. I didn't ask for it, but I was chosen for it. And I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. So if you want to fight, we're going to fight all the way. We're going to fight. I see all y'all beautiful deputies, but I'll fight law enforcement in a minute. Okay? I'll fight y'all. County, commissioners, city council, you know I will. But we're gonna fight. But y'all know what? I tell y'all everybody, don't take it personal. Because that's what I'm here for. A young lady came into the office and she was distraught and didn't know what she can do and didn't know how to do it. We trained her on what to say and what to do on how, when she stepped forth in that courtroom. And she won her case. She came back glowing. You see, those are the victories that people don't see. Those are the victories that people don't understand. But you know what? I promise you I ain't gonna give up on my people. Whether they got $2, 2 cents, or 3 nickels, I don't care. I'm not gonna give up. I come too far to turn around now. This girl born in Tampa hung out at the corner of Jackson's store, 34th and Osborne. Who'd have ever thought she'd be standing right here in front of you? But then you let the devil step in front. You see, Terry, that's where people come in and they say, well, you know, skin too dark. You know, we all know about that dark skin and light skin stuff, okay? Her hair not straight enough. But that's not who I am. I'm Yvette Lewis. I'm a child of the God. I'm the baby of LMA Lewis. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. And I'm a civil rights leader. And I promise you, I'm gonna lead us all the way through because there's gonna be some successes that we're gonna continue to fight. James Shaw, we're gonna fight all the way to the end. We ain't finished. I promise you that. I just want to say thank y'all to everyone who give me the love and the support. Everything. Because sometimes I thought I'd lose my mind until I look at this one lady
And she gives me strength. And she says, be presidential. Don't let them see you fall. Connie Burton, thank you. Jarvis Salamine, thank you. Because sometimes the weight on these shoulders that you have to battle because the man has interfered with the Willie Lynch syndrome, and some of y'all will understand that later. But at this time, I'm not gonna hold y'all like I say. But I just wanted to let you know what was on my heart. Because the foolishness that you hear is something created by the devil to try to continue to tear us down, degrade us, to let us know that we're not nothing or we're not worth anything. But I'm here to tell you that that's a lie. I just want to say, I heard you, Albert Cole. I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer, but anyway, I just want to say thank y'all for everything.
That we stand with you too. In our tradition, when someone has led us in prayer, when someone has taught from the Bible, when someone has inspired us, there are two Hebrew words that we say. Can I teach you some Hebrew tonight? First, I want you to say Yasher Koach. Even if you don't get the cha. That was a good cha. Yasher Koach. It means go forth with strength. To this evening's organizers, to the NAACP leadership, to all of our speakers, to our award winners, we say, Yasher Koach, go forth with strength. I teach our children that to pray to God for the things we need is too easy. Instead, we pray to God for the strength to work for the things that we need. So to all of us here tonight, we say Yasher Koach. Let me hear you. May we go forth with strength to do the work. Say Yasher Koach. May we go forth with strength to hear the cries of our neighbors. Say Yasher Koach. May we go forth with strength to not just hear the cries of our neighbors, but to use that strength to do something about it, to help them. We say Yasher Koach. May we go forth with strength to make our voices heard. One more time, say Yasher Koach. May we go forth with strength to look inside and find that power. Find the power within that God gave to us. In the 29th Psalm, we read, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God give strength to God's people, and that is all of us. May God bless us with the strength to use that power within to work for what's right, to work for justice, to work with our brothers and sisters, with all of our brothers and sisters. To be God's partners, to be God's powerful partners, to work together to build that world of justice, of equality, of peace. Amen.
And this is truly a wonderful organization. They continue to support the students and in the area of Tampa. So we're really supportive of them.
And thank you so much, and we appreciate everything that the NAACP does for our students, our teachers, our faculty, and our staff, and obviously our school board is behind the NAACP. Thank you.
Go NAACP.
The NAACP is a great organization. It's led to the diversity of our country, which only makes it stronger and helps our education and businesses all around. And it's just a great organization.
I'd love to see the NAACP reach out to the communities in Tampa, Carver City, Lincoln Gardens, black communities, and work with us to sustain our development and maintain our representation in local government and just generally throughout Tampa.
We also worked well with Yvette and her team at the NAACP, and they did our Secret Shopper program for us, which was amazing. That brought power to my office in that she was able to bring her team in and really show us where we needed to work, what we were doing well and what we needed to work on. So we're grateful for that, grateful for her leadership, and that woman brings power to the community.
And I want to remind everybody out there that we have very important elections coming up this November. Make sure that you vote. If you haven't filled out your absentee ballot, do so today. Mail it back. And there's early voting starting on Sunday. Make sure that you grab your friends and you vote as a family and you take your neighborhood. This is an election of a lifetime. Make sure you vote.
And this is Star Lynette Brookins coming live from the NAACP Freedom Fund Dinner with a great cause and just encouraging everyone to use their power and to use their voice and to use their vote. And we really need to get out in our community and make a difference. So thank you so much, and get out there and make sure that you are not silenced.
Being able to cast that ballot, that's what voting is all about. That's your vote, that's your voice. You know, the NAACP is a great organization. We've partnered with them for years and years to get the word out, where to vote, when to vote. It's just a wonderful relationship.
I am so thrilled to partner with the many members of this organization that fights for the rights of all of us.
It's so important that the NAACP is part of our community, looking for and helping for people with improving their rights and access to all opportunities. It's something that we need here in Hillsborough County, and the impact that's felt continues throughout the community.
And it's so important to have them right today because there's so many civil rights happening still in the 20s. So 2023 is next year, and we're still dealing with issues that are civil rights, and people today need your help. So join today, the NAACP Hillsborough County edition. We're ready to go.
I'm looking forward to the next year in which the NAACP is going to help people of all colors. NAACP, thank you for everything you do.
Yvette Lewis, the president, has been someone who has the great respect of all the stakeholders in the community.
The reason why it is so important to have the NAACP here in the city of Tampa, that we're looking at a changing economy, a changing city, and we need the NAACP to be centered, to be grounded, to make sure that everybody have an opportunity to equity and opportunity. Under the leadership of Yvette Lewis, we've been grateful that the NAACP has been a force to reckon with.